We're in. We're in. Are we in?
Yep.
All right, apparently we have 3 Facebook Lives going at once. Go ahead, show yourselves just to show everybody what I'm looking at. Say hi.
Hi.
We got Twitter, Facebook.
Instagram.
Oh, wow, all 3. All right, so we got the big 3. Of course, today is kind of the day. We've been talking about Hurricane Irma for over a week at this point. In fact, the models go back more than 10 days. So the event is here. If you haven't been outside at all and you're in Charlotte, you know it's windy, very windy day, lots of cloud cover. Now we're starting to get the on and off periods of rain. Expect this to linger pretty much now all the way through the overnight period into the first part of Tuesday. So really give or take the next 18 hours. It's kind of our go time. So if you're watching this and you're at home, just relaxing. That's the best place to be tonight. Spend some time with family, some friends, and just kind of enjoy it. 1 second. Phone's ringing here. I can answer that later. All right, we're good. So long story short here is we've been talking about this for 7 days, 10 days. It's here. If you can, just stay at home tonight. Big picture shows, well, there are some good things that are happening out there. Unfortunately, we wish the storm was just gone altogether. We had a hurricane that moved through the state of Florida. Terrible news for the state of Florida. They're obviously going to be cleaning up from that for the next couple of weeks. What it did do, since it stayed over land primarily, is it weakened rapidly. So right now we're dealing with a tropical storm. You can see, give or take the spin somewhere down in here, you can see it's a whole lot less organized. Think back the past couple of days when we had that eye wall that was 30 miles wide, and you could pretty much see the perfect circulation. It was textbook. We had the winds 185 miles per hour. This is now a shell of what it used to be. With that said, it was a monster storm, right? Look at how big this is. It really expands. We were just talking over 7 states from North Carolina all the way back through Alabama, still in parts of Florida. But notice Florida right now beginning to clear out. They still have windy conditions. There are lingering showers, but the worst conditions by far are over for Florida. Things will gradually improve through the night tonight. Southern parts of Georgia, much of the same as the eye gradually shifts up to the north, basically running right up 75 towards Macon, then eventually working its way back towards the Birmingham area. Good news for them, though, this is a weakening system. So, yes, they're still going to get hit with this, and this is by far the worst part of the system that we're not going to get, but it's weakening for them, so good news that it continues to weaken. For us up to the north and east, though, notice these batches of moisture coming in off the Atlantic, the wraparound with the system. This is going to be our rain for the next 12 to 18 hours, and that rain still produces very heavy tropical downpours, as you would expect. And with that, also winds still gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour. So really this is going to be a bad rain and wind storm. It's not necessarily going to be tropical in the sense that a tropical storm's coming over us, but it's still going to be very bad out there. Again, just a great night to stay at home and let this pass by. Latest winds, 60 miles per hour, moving to north-northwest at 17. I do expect that to come a little bit more towards the northwest rather than the north-northwest. Pressure, this is fantastic, up to 980 millibars. If you think back earlier into the week when this thing was pretty much at its peak, it was down in the 919s. So the pressure continues to rise. What that means is it's a weakening storm, which is certainly some good news there. Latest track, again, here's Charlotte, well up to the north and east. The actual track is about 300, give or take, miles from us. That just shows you how big this system is. The fact that we're still getting winds 40 to 50 miles per hour and we're dealing with the heavier rainfall, it's really incredible. Most tropical systems, had they made landfall there, would have very minimal impacts, just light breezes, maybe a few showers. But the fact that this thing just expands 300 miles is pretty incredible. It will continue to track up to the north-northwest, eventually more towards the northwest, and then notice by really tomorrow afternoon, just a remnant low with still some rain here, but it'll be a total shell of what it used to be. Continues to move away and it continues to weaken. So the long story short here is we're going to be very wet as we work way through the overnight tonight into the first part of Tuesday. Then we'll see improving conditions. In and around Charlotte, earlier today we had the first batch of moisture move through. It was interesting. The radar looked like it was raining everywhere, but it wasn't. The air was so dry, it took time to saturate things. Now that things are saturated, now we're getting those tropical downpours. It's going to come in waves. Notice we have this first wave up here right along I-40 from Morganton over through Statesville, trying to work its way up towards the Greensboro area. As it moves into drier area, you can see it kind of weakening here just a little bit in the last few frames. But the moisture is pushing to the north. The next one's just south of Charlotte right now. This will move up over the next few hours, of course. Not good news for rush hour. But we're going to see these bands of moisture move through during the overnight. It won't rain heavy all night. You'll get heavier bursts for 20 or 30 minutes. It'll take a little bit of a break, then go back to heavy. That's how these tropical things work. And then notice just all the moisture off to the south. All of this has to continue to push up to the north. What does that mean for us? Again, just on and off periods of moderate to heavy rain through the overnight tonight. In addition to that, we also have windy conditions that are embedded in those bands. Current winds, these are sustained. We'll call it between now, I'd say most areas south of I-40. Statesville sustained 16, 13 for Hickory, 17 for Charlotte, 25 for Chester. So we'll say anywhere between sustained about 10 and 25 miles per hour. Still not quite there in the mountains, but believe me, you're going to get your wind later tonight. Nobody's going to escape this without at least tropical storm force winds at some point. Here's the actual wind gusts. Again, we're sustained between about 10 and 25 now. The actual wind gusts, check out Greenville in the past hour, 43, Chester 43, 33 for Lancaster. Still pushing mid to upper 20s in and around Charlotte, and then a little bit less up to the north. But again, the winds and the rain will continue to push up to the north. So the winds are just going to pick up into the overnight. We're also going to be picking up with the rainfall as well, as this is pretty much our time as it moves through. Let's time this out here for you. Again, the heaviest rain we just saw that was in South Carolina. This will continue to push up to the north here, 7 o'clock. But notice at midnight, you start to get those batches. Here's that moisture here, some of this working into the high country. But especially after midnight, notice that moisture really begins to overspread Charlotte. And most of this will actually fall while you're sleeping tonight, assuming you're not up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I think most people will be asleep. You'll hear it outside. It's going to be absolutely pouring out there. You'll probably hear the winds around your house, 40 to 50 miles per hour as well. But notice by 8 o'clock tomorrow, the worst of the weather is expected to be up to the north. So again, it's mostly during the overnight, very early Tuesday. And then by Tuesday afternoon, we begin to improve things. There will be a few lingering showers, but I'm not expecting what we have out there today or tonight. Partly cloudy skies, maybe even a few breaks in the clouds, and tomorrow will warmer temperatures. It's also very cold out there right now. Not only the wind and the rain, temperatures are into the 60s. Tomorrow we should work our way, probably if we get a few breaks in the clouds, close to the upper 70s, close to 80 degrees. So tomorrow, improving conditions. Today we've seen conditions decline throughout the day. They'll maximize tonight, and then tomorrow it'll be the opposite. We'll see conditions improve throughout the day. So the worst of this will be during the overnight. How much additional rain from where we have right now? Probably another 1 to 3 inches. It's hard to pinpoint who would see the 3 inches of rain. Anytime you have tropical systems, where does that set up the heavier rain bands? It's really hard to know that. But a wide swath of 1 to 3 inches, of course, if you get under a tropical downpour, a localized 3 or 4 inches will be possible. But I don't think we're going to see any widespread flooding with this. There will probably be localized flooding, but I think for the most part, we can absorb 1 to 3 inches. As far as the rain, well, it's going to be windy out there. This is showing winds potentially gusting as high as 55 miles per hour during the overnight. That's probably a little bullish, but I certainly believe 45 to 50 miles per hour will be possible. The one exception, somebody could gust in the high country later tonight. That could gust as high as 60 miles per hour. I believe that when it shows the 60, 65. I think Charlotte, anything over 50 is probably pushing it. I guess it's possible, but I think most of us will see gusts probably about 50 miles per hour or just a little bit less. So just to summarize here, what we're looking at through the overnight period into early Tuesday, that'll be the maximum for this event. Wind, again, it's going to be very windy out there, much more than we would ever experience on a normal day. Flooding, generally a low risk. There will be some localized flooding. Tornado threats pretty low as well. Any tropical system, you can't rule out a quick spin-up tornado. But the truth is, by the time it developed, if it did, it would already be gone. They don't last a whole long time, and they're generally weak. So tornado flooding threat's not great. But of course, with the wind and a saturated ground, watch out for those power outages. So with that said, we've been tracking Irma for 10 days. The event is here. It's going to be windy. It's going to be wet through the overnight. Hang in there, give it another 18 hours, and then we'll gradually improve things throughout the day on Tuesday. And by Wednesday and the rest of the week, conditions are looking nice. So have fun tonight at home. Take it easy. And we'll give you another update here coming up tonight, probably about 7 or 8 o'clock. I'll see you then.